Together I will be presenting with Groot, and so first we'll give a small introduction of ourselves. My name is Joachim Koning. I spoke here last year, and also I'm the founder of Lands of Shiraga, and currently working on coins. I have a small company called MetaSync, which I also do cryptocurrency activities with. Currently implementing a new system for BitSend, and so that's a little bit of my background.
Hi, and I'm Rob. I'm working with Joachim on Internet of Coins. We started this summer. I own a company called Access Media, and I used to be a miner, and now they changed. It's an interesting project.
I'll turn on this one.
Yes.
Move around.
Can we use that one?
Testing, okay. I'll for a moment. You might have noticed in front of you that you have an apple. And for those who don't, go and quickly grab one, because we're going to show you a little example. We're going to play a little game. Rob, would you like to introduce what's going to happen?
Yes. Okay. Everyone has an apple, either a red one or a green one. Yes, grab an apple. Let's play again. Let's be part of an exchange. The people with a red apple actually want a green apple. The people with a green apple actually would like an apple. We're going to be exchanged the exchange to raise it for you. So what we're going to do is going to collect your red apples and exchange them for green apples. And we're going to collect apples, exchange red apples.
Yeah, so we're a very trusted exchange called Fruit & Co. And we have an extremely vault with cold storage, elastic storage, whatnot. It's right here in this box. I'm going to put it over here. There we go. So first of all, let's start by collecting some green apples, some deposits, and putting them in our secure vault, because, well, you all have accounts with us. We're a very popular exchange, so we're sure that you want to deposit with us. So we're coming to retrieve some of your green apples. Thank you so much. Rest assured, nothing's going to happen to your money. You know, it's safe right here. Looks like a lot of good green apples. Let's also get some red apples. If we want to be an exchange, we'll need more than just one type of crypto to be able to exchange.
I want a receipt for that.
If you click on on transfers, you can find this list of how many apples you've deposited into our box. If you have any requests, then just shoot in a ticket. It only takes several weeks, and you'll get a response. So you can feel just fine about what's happening.
Okay. Now we've got all the apples.
Let's take a look at the order book.
Yeah.
It's a noisy order book, which means lots of trade going on. Really good. So I suggest we exchange all those who had a green apple for a red apple, and that we give what they would actually want.
Yep.
In this case, the order book is quite simple. If you have one red apple, you're going to get one green one. So let's start.
Did you bring one?
Yeah. Let's see.
Red throw here.
Oh wait, sorry.
Be one green apple, yes, sir.
A red one?
Yeah.
Okay.
In exchange for the green one. And another one.
It's going pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get another apple. You know, just make sure the order book is filled as it should be.
Any preference?
I'll do the green one.
The green. See the red apple.
Oh, wait a minute. This isn't. This isn't part of the script, I think.
What's this?
Okay, what's going on here? Hold it there. Wait. Let's.
That's our goal.
just put a note out on Twitter, you know, calm people down, calm people down. And let's make sure we check what's in the wallets. Oh, wait a minute. It's,
I think.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Maybe we lost some coins, just, you know. Oh.
We've
been hacked. Crap, that's just really bad news. What are we going to tell our depositors?
Let's say we're really sorry. Let's say we're really sorry for losing their money.
Yeah, we'll make it official.
Or we could contact the hacker.
I'll post a picture of my cat, and meantime, we'll try and mitigate the damage. So, very sorry to lose your coins, guys.
I'll trade my apple for your cat.
Yes. So this was an example of a story about how a lot of the cryptocurrencies are exchanged at the moment. And of course, a lot of work is being done to solve these kinds of problems and to solve them in a decentralized way. And we also have a take on this, and so we would like to tell you another story.
Yeah. So, let's go. Once upon a time, back in 2009, Bitcoin was created, as we know. Yes. Created by, as we know, Nakamoto, released his white paper, which became the birth certificate for this first cryptocurrency. And it was followed by, well, copious amounts of other coins. We see here, we have Feather Coin, Mega Coin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, Barbecue Coin, Million Coin, don't forget Frozen, yeah, we got Frozen as well, Prime Coin. Yeah. These are just, of course, some examples. Each with their own use, their own peer-to-peer network, their own algorithm, of course, their own blockchain to ledger only transfers. Well, the thing is, with the introduction of we've seen some pump and dump schemes being created. Let's, for example, one of those ones was this one. Who recognize this one? Anyone? I see some people. Yeah, this is Aurora coin. The Aurora coin, yes. Yeah. Was meant for Iceland. It's too bad, but well, it was a nice try anyway. Of course, as an organization, we're looking for solutions for this. But we are going to be one of them. That's what we're going to try to prove today. Regardless of the coins, the organization started trading the assets. We got a bit shares over here, but next we got Ethereum. What's pronounced right now? Counterparty.
Master.
What did you say?
Mastercoin.
Mastercoin. Let's see. Working on decentralized. You recognize these two? Open transaction. This one's quite new one. It's Cody's. Cody's is also working on a decentralized solution. Well, they are working on it to counter the problems we've noticed, including fragmentation and centralization. Joachim is going into
All right. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, a problem we're seeing a lot of platforms coming out, and they're all doing very innovative things. With, for example, Counterparty trying to piggyback off of the Bitcoin blockchain and creating an assets transfer system there. Just a bit like Mastercoin, but with Counterparty, they've gotten it so far that you can already do this yourself and set up your own assets. Quite simply, you don't have to use some obscure transaction type to get it done. So there's different groups doing these things in different ways. Of course, we see Ethereum up there and Codius, but the idea with all this is that they're right now innovating in different directions, and it's causing a kind of fragmentation, but also centralization to haunt crypto freedom ideas. And why do I say centralization? Well, if we look at Bitcoin, and if you look at, for example, the mining scene there, if you want to be a miner these days, you have to be well prepared. And so, like it or not, financially, there is still an incentive to centralize, as humans so often do. With Ethereum, I expect the same thing more or less to happen. Maybe not so much in the mining scene, but then maybe in the creation of complex distributed applications. So there's so many money going right now into that Ethereum startup that soon they will have a large monolithic blockchain system, and it will be able to create new constructions, new solutions in a decentralized way. However, it could be very probable that the organizations to win out on that platform are again the ones with the most finances available to make these solutions. So in a way, you could say mighty blockchains are vying to be the most relevant technology. And in a way, competition isn't bad. It's also created a lot of good spur of innovation, and it will continue to do so. But if it means that, just like with the American financial system, that in the end only one cryptocurrency wins out, maybe that's not exactly what we have envisioned for the future. So what can we do? Keep calm and in the darkness bind them, or as it were, in the dark nets bind them. And the idea here is to create a network to be able to interface the different blockchains and make them work together. In nature, we also see that species are not just trying to compete against each other, but they're collaborating. And so maybe that's something we could learn. So to cultivate this freedom, I think it's a good idea to look at the evolution of the internet itself. And when the internet started, first we had technologies like HTTP, TCP/IP protocol, but weaving into this came all these new technologies. And take, for example, things like Gopher. Some of them didn't stay very popular for a long time. Others did, or for a while, like Flash, for example, a technology. But because Flash was not very open, it was later superseded by HTML5 canvas elements and such. We see that this evolution is making the internet more and more of a free space. At least that's what many of the actors are trying to do. And I think if we do the same for cryptos, that we're in for a new world and a very exciting development. So one way to glue these blockchains together is, we think, through the use of hybrid assets. And what a hybrid asset essentially does is create a synchronized value over different blockchains and ledger systems. And how is this done? Well, first of all, it's very important that between one blockchain and the other, there's a clear meta definition of value, which means we need one-on-one cross-blockchain value definitions. So, for example, right now, if you say, well, we have Bitcoin and we have Litecoin, right now we find out what they're worth mostly or usually compared to the US dollar, or many cryptocurrencies try to translate themselves back to Bitcoin. So there's always one kind of reserve currency on which they try and know value. But if we want to make this truly free float, I think we should create meta assets or hybrid assets that float across these blockchains and make it possible for the market to decide its own value on every currency.
Joachim, so you're actually looking for some kind of Esperanto in this sense?
Well, if you look at language, Esperanto tried to be a very inclusive language, but then again it was just another other language. And I'm actually looking for a definition on top of which languages, as it were, could float. But in this case, it's about the coins. And so we're not trying to create a new cryptocurrency. Go ahead.
Any specific reason that you mentioned
Any specific reason that you mentioned the darknet? Why is it only on the darknet?
It doesn't necessarily have to be only on the darknet, but since we see that the darknets are mostly federalized and decentralized, I thought it was a logical idea to start there and to make sure that the protocol runs across these decentralized systems. And it's also in a way what Bitcoin itself does, what the Bitcoin client has built in. It creates its network, completely decentralized, through which these transactions are communicated. So that's why what we're also looking for, trustless and anonymous transactions, Not because we don't trust each other, but because the system we use, we want to try and make it incorruptible. And that's just the same attempt as has been Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And I think that's a good way to work towards a monetary system that we can all use equally. So I think also when we create something like hybrid assets, we have to look for modular extendable standards. And what that means is that what we build is not something that is our secret or just belongs to us, but that it belongs to everybody, and that everybody can work with it and use those to create something new and something better. So to get a kind of a visual idea of what a hybrid asset is, I have an example of two blockchain systems. One is party, or it also has the cryptocurrency, which is denoted by XCP, and the other one is the next system, and its own cryptocurrency called NXT. And on top of these two blockchain systems, you can float your own colored coins, as it were, or assets, as they'd rather call them. So you can go onto that platform, you can create your own decentralized asset, and that costs you either, it costs you very little in value to set this up. So we see already a lot of assets floating on the next blockchain, for example, and also several on the counterparty blockchain. Some of them are not very serious. You can buy love on counterparty, you can buy meat, and that kind of thing. But we also see more serious contenders starting to become, starting to exhibit behavior like real assets, where people get paid dividends, and where you also see that, I'll move this way a bit for the camera, please. And where you see that these create trust with its stakeholders. And so you see actually small companies forming on this decentralized network. Very interesting. But how are we going to tie these values together? How are we going to make sure that if you have counterparty coins or bitcoins, which can both float on the counterparty network, because it's essentially on Bitcoin, how can you make sure you can exchange that to next coins? Well, hybrid asset. So let's say on both exchanges we issue an asset. We call it oranges. And we define simply that an orange on the one platform is always worth the equal amount of an orange on the other platform. Then we've created a theoretical hybrid asset. But now to tie it in practice, we need to create a network through which these assets can be transferred from the one blockchain to the other. And this is done through proof of allocation. Because literally transferring one of the assets from one blockchain to the other is technically infeasible or impossible. Because you cannot just remove something from one blockchain and make it appear in the other. It either has to be mined or it has to be spent or burned. And if we just keep on burning assets on the one platform or the other all the time, we're not going to have assets left to work with after a little while. So what we're going to do is say no, we're going to create a network in which there are actors that can be allocation providers. And these allocation providers say, well, I have a stack of these coins, I have a stack of those coins, or this asset and a stack of that asset. In this sense, oranges on both the counterparty network and oranges on the next network. And this allocator says, I'm prepared to keep these in my wallets and exchangeable. And this can be done via the hybrid asset system that we want to create. Right now, we have been testing this with a hybrid asset called Stormwind. And Stormwind is an asset that is managed with a central program. But we want to make sure that this can be utilized so everybody can do this by himself. So for that, we'll need something called a proof of allocation table. And that is one of the communicational aspects of the network, in which this table is shared around with all these nodes. Every node knows that a person that has allocated the assets on the one blockchain and the other is available for transferring these. So the network could look something like this. Let's start at the bottom. Here we have the hybrid D, just like Bitcoin has its own Bitcoin D, which is the Bitcoin daemon method. And what it does is it creates interfaces toward all these different blockchain systems. Counterparty, the next asset exchange, Ethereum, Mastercoin, Invictus, CoinX, and lately you could also name Nvidia Coin or BitShares. And so what it does is create a communicative interface between these systems. And it makes sure that you can trade the hybrid asset from the one blockchain to the other using proof of allocation. This makes it possible to trade a lot of cryptocurrencies against each other already out of the box. Because you could start with Bitcoin, transfer it into a hybrid asset counterparty's blockchain. then transfer the hybrid asset to another one of these cryptocurrencies, let's say, to keep it easy, the next asset exchange, and then sell those for next coins. And so what you've essentially done is bitcoins into next coins via a hybrid asset. You haven't been to make use of a central exchange. Another positive point about this is that you are actually trading from one blockchain to the other. And for that, all you need is a proof of allocation provider who wants to trade with you. And that is something that we will see created when people start participating in the network. So it's also possible to hook, for example, a smart contract of Ethereum into this. You program a smart contract that behaves simply like a hybrid asset, and then you can also change into Ether coins. But also with Mastercoin, Invictus, etc., these things are possible.
Cody.
Yeah, Codius. So we're not trying to create yet another coin. Again, there is another type of idea where you create a decentralized exchange on that blockchain. I think the big challenge is how to create a protocol that is oriented at making all these blockchains work together. And the layer through which this can be done is already easily available. We could use Tor, P. We could even use Bitcoin's own communication systems to make this communication happen. In any way we do it, it's going to form itself like a darknet. It's going to be an encrypted network, decentralized, and in the idea of a darknet. And so, for the example here, I've named Tor or I2P as the communication layer. And the hybrid meta server connects to all these other servers of other people that are either clients that want to exchange coins or and assets, or clients that are actually operating as an allocation provider. So we need some safe transaction methods to get this done. And for now we have two proposed methods. One is called the multi-signature method, in which you make sure that when you do this exchange that are held until multiple signatures are given. And for this we can process this exchange by having an allocation provider or several take one of the keys and keep it, but he cannot reach the key because it's encrypted. So the multi-signature method, it's already been well documented, well thought out, it's nothing new, so we can make use of that. And then the other method, what we're working on, is Haystack, and this is for blockchains that use multi-signature methods at this moment. For example, take small coins like Flappy Coin, or Corti Coin, or Coinye, the one we all love. And these coins, we don't want to see them die. They're also innovations in their own right. Okay, granted, some of them may be shit coins. Maybe some will eventually die. However, let's give all these coins a chance together and integrate into a large network so that they can actually become worth something real. So in the end, we end up with a structure looking somewhat like this. Now you cannot see the lines very well because of the beamer, but between every bubble there's a blue line connecting the one bubble to the other. And basically it's an internet of coins, and what hybrid assets to be is the connectors in between. And there you see this small little sign, which is the little logo of hybrid assets. Now let's see, yeah. And there, if the laptop was fast enough, the zoom effect. But here we see that this hybrid assets logo forms the connection between the different blockchains. Essentially, to form what we want to be is the internet of coins. So that's the idea about the internet of coins. Do you have questions?
So you presented that there will be an API. Is this
Testing. Yeah, so you presented that there will be an API. Do you already know what kind of API that is going to be? Do the other coins or their daemons need to support that? Or is that riding on top of existing APIs?
What we want to do right now is take as much as possible the coins as they are, and not try and move developers to have to change their own coins. There are some coins that maybe essentially even be abandoned, and even those you want to try and make part of the internet of coins. And maybe later these code bases can be picked up, but that's not what we're counting on. So what we're counting on is trying to make a system that will work with the coins as they are right now.
Could you please explain what your objections are against the centralized exchange?
objections against decentralized exchange?
Because you've been
That lady
pushing
with
the
the sword,
idea.
I guess.
Sorry?
That lady with the sword, I guess.
Yeah. So as we showed in the first example, centralized exchanges have their use, and we don't want to see them completely go away, because let's give a few positive points about them. They are fast, for example, or if they are audited in some way and they do have a way of guaranteeing your deposit, then maybe that is actually a reasonable way to work with these cryptocurrencies. But the spirit of cryptocurrency is decentralized.
No,
And
what I was trying to mention was the fact that you created what you refer to as the Internet of Coins.
Yes.
Ultimately, there will be a sort of inter-exchangeability between these various virtual currencies. That's basically what you're trying to create, right?
Yes, yes.
The interface layer. My question is, what would be against the fact that that is a centralized exchange in itself?
Well, we have done the centralized method already. And the problem there is that if something would happen to us, for example, if we would operate the exchange, then at that point it could become dangerous for people that still want to be able to transfer. So that would make the project dependent on us, and what we would like to see is that this is a project that can be backed by all these developers on the internet, and in the future becomes something that goes on by itself.
Would it be possible in your sort of business model or IT model to have a sort of hybrid solution that on the one hand you have the option of using a centralized exchange, or alternatively this sort of decentralized capability, so that you have two systems almost operating in parallel with each other? So let's say the operators of virtual currency X, that they could make a choice, or maybe the people who are holding a particular currency holders, that they could make the choice whether they would like to hook up with a hybrid solution or whether they would prefer to use the centralized exchange.
Mm-hmm. I think in practice this is what we're going to see happening anyways. Because
okay, that's good.
Yeah. And I'll show you why. I have to wait for a moment for this thing to back up. Let's see.
Central exchanges appear. The option will still be there.
There we go.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So here we see on the right Nextcoin, the little diamond of Ethereum, BitShares, Litecoin, and Mastercoin. Now these are all examples of completely decentralized networks with their own ledger or blockchain.
Yeah.
And we see on the left have their open transactions and Codius, and those are not systems that have their own ledger. These are ledgerless systems that are trying to integrate finance in an actually slightly more centralized way, which we usually call a fixed way, because anybody can run their own open transactions node, but it still centers around one node. Codius also centers around solutions that have to be run in a certain place, and they're thinking about trying to create smart oracles that can be decentralized as well, but we'll still have to see how that pans out in this. And then all the way on the left we see I put there a little monopoly money, and it's the fiat currency system that we know right now. Now in this picture we see that open transactions and Codius are connected to that fiat system. We could have also added centralized exchange X there, but these systems would be very fit to connect closed source or fiat currency systems to this open decentralized network. And so I think in practice we'll still see this happening. There will always be a need also for centralized exchanges, because some types of currencies are not easily hooked into a decentralized and open system. But for the decentralized cryptocurrencies, creating the Internet of Coins I think would be a positive thing, so that we are no longer forced to use these centralized solutions very often like it is now. And so that's I think a good thing, that you give the user choice. The user can choose to exchange my coins with a centralized party. If he wants to do that, it's always still possible. But in the future we want to see that it's also possible to choose to do this in a decentralized fashion.
Okay.
So you don't have to do it.
So this was a rather high-level overview. What is this project? I didn't see a demo, so I guess there's no software yet. What's the timeline?
There's no software, especially no decentralized software yet. What we've done in the past 8 months is we've been running a project called Stormwind, and it was a project which was designed to stabilize the smaller cryptocurrency markets. So it trades in against pumps and dumps. And for Stormwind, we also had hybrid assets. So Stormwind is issued on both Next and Counterparty at the same time. And the price of Stormwind, if I had internet, I could show you. But so maybe in the future, like in the day, I can show you. But the price of Stormwind, you can see in two charts, and there's two lines. One for the price on the Counterparty blockchain, and one for the price on the Next blockchain. And both prices are translated back to the Bitcoin value that they have. And you see that these two lines weave in and out of each other all the time. So the users of this hybrid asset are currently balancing out the price by sometimes selling or sometimes buying. And if it becomes worth too much on one blockchain, then the other blockchain usually catches after a little while. But what we're now doing is finishing the white paper about this decentralized system, and we will be bringing that out somewhere in the next weeks, I hope. And then after that, we want to see if we can gather support of developers and other people that want to help out to create this new system, decentralize it.
You confused me a little bit. What is Stormwind?
Stormwind at the moment is a hybrid asset, but it's hybrid because of a centralized solution that we're running right now. And so what we want to do with hybrid assets is actually decentralize it and put it in the hands of everybody.
Yeah, it's a proof of concept.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions? And feel free to ask anything later in the day, and just walk up and say, hey guys, I want this or that. Any question I would like to answer and think about. Also any challenge.
Just in the end, what is the output of the project? I mean, a software freely available to decentralize, to exchange one currency into another in a transparent way. And if it's, what is the business model behind? Where can you make some money for this?
Well, in first instance, we want to create something new. But of course, we'll need some support for that. So what we'll be doing is asking people if they want to be part of the first hybrid asset. And this hybrid asset is nothing but an asset of which we say we're going to test this as first asset on the decentralized exchange. So it's not a promise to get rich quick, or it's not an idea of of creating a lot of buzz or whatever. The idea is we want to take the possibility for several developers to be developing full time, and from the proceeds of that first asset that people can purchase, these developers will be paid. And if this asset is successful, it could be the first asset to exchange between all these blockchains, but for the rest, that doesn't say much about what it will be worth or not. So it's an experiment, and we're just wanting to see who's willing to participate in it. What is produced out of the project is indeed a program that people can run on their own computers, and the source code is also going to be open source. So they can see how it works by themselves. They actually fork it, and we actually would encourage people to fork it, because that would only make it bigger, stronger, and more diverse. And this design is not yet another coin, so when forking it, I think it will be very difficult for people to create another pump and dump out of. But I say this carefully because people are very resourceful when creating pumps and dumps. However, it would serve well to create even another network, and I hope to see in the future things like this running over Tor, I2P, but maybe even over Dribbler or whatever ideas that people have to run this over. Maybe even the telephone system, you name it, and perhaps much more nice innovations come from it.
What kind of technology do you need? Is this a thing in this system that also needs its own blockchain for the tables that you mentioned?
No, we're trying to do this without a blockchain. We're going to see if this is actually possible, but double spending on the system shouldn't be possible because everything already is running on its own blockchain. So what we're going to do is create a communication system that doesn't need yet another blockchain, which will need a lot of more in your computer, that can utilize the blockchain technologies already there. And however many bytes you can add on to every transaction, be it 40, be it 20, be it 5, to find a way to make sure that this hybrid asset can run on that blockchain.
Any more questions?
All right, thank you. If there's no more questions.
Could you take off your shirt?
Oh, I'll take off my shirt. Well, I don't want to take off my shirt. I'll take off the sweater.
Okay, sweater.
Yeah, we made t-shirts and.
Ta-da.
So are you selling them?
Actually, we're not selling t-shirts, but the designs on the t-shirts are open. So right now we're not hosting them yet, but shoot us an email, we'll send you the logos and you can print your own. Thank you very much. And hand it back to us. Oh, and let's not forget to thank the hacker who hacked our exchange.
Where are my apples?
Oh, you can eat your apples now.
Yeah. Grab some apples.
Okay. Joachim and Robert, thank you. We will now make us ready for the next presentation. You can get some drinks and whatever. And by the way, if the network is working, I'm not sure, then you can chat. They have a small break now.